Yeah.
Let's do it, man.
All right. I'm excited. This is fun. All right. Well, hello, everybody. I am Gary Horn, and this is Gary Horn, and this is the NWA. It's a podcast celebrating the past, present, future, history, legacy, and tradition, a whole shebang of one of the greatest pro wrestling entities of all time. We're talking about the National Wrestling Alliance. I feel like there was like a spirit floating next to me. I saw over here like a bunch of flashing. Hey guys, man, I am so excited right now. I am not alone here. That voice you just heard was Dr. Robert Stinson. He doesn't like it when you say doctor, but he's there.
You shouldn't have gone to school for so many years.
Yeah, you should have stayed home, buddy.
Hey, I'm paying for it now.
That other voice you hear is the legend, the icon, the man who is known as Hey It's Will Daily. You've been seeing his stuff on This Is the NWA podcast. Hey Will, what's up?
Hey friends.
Guys, we just started. Will, I don't mean to cut you off, but I got a surprise for you already, right off the bat. Watch this. Hold on.
Oh,
Who has joined us?
hello.
Wait a minute. This isn't the website I thought I was getting on.
Mr. David Lagana is here. How are you, sir?
I was signing up for the Rotella Giraffe show. Where is that?
That's a different channel now, sir. That is not this one. He's not here today. So
oh wait, how can I change my background? Hold on. How do I do that?
Oh, you can do that. Down to the bottom left, there's a video camera.
This is old man me. Here we go.
I like that squinty-eyed thing you're doing. That's good.
I was going to put the Carnyland thing behind me so I could be cool like all of you guys.
You can do it.
How do I do it? Screw it. How are we, gentlemen? Did you have a good time?
Oh my God, it was so great, man. It was a blast.
Just think I'd been watching that for 2 months by myself, just, laughing, cackling that you guys couldn't see it and I could.
So was that how long it just took to edit the whole thing? Like it was just
I did it last week. Billy Trask and I did it last week. So
oh, nice.
It was kind of sad, right? Gary, you were there. Robert, you were there too that day. We didn't really want to advertise it. That was 30 minutes after Kobe died that we shot that show. Wow. And so I remember walking out and I'm like, what's wrong with the audience? Why are they all like somber? And then everyone told me, I was like, oh, that's not good. And I remember going, and we were like, they're into it. But after the last 2 months of no crowd wrestling, it's been, it was kind of very refreshing to see everybody go crazy. So.
No, I think the crowd sounded awesome, man. I was watching the thing and I totally forgot that was the case, but I remember sitting in the crowd now that you say that and seeing the messages get passed around. Like they're like,
yeah, it was very, well, I just remember walking backstage and everyone was just, I'm like, we have a show to do, guys. I know this is terrible. We have to figure out what to do. And I think did we do a circle squared before? I think we sent out a circle squared, first.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
We just had to figure that out. I'm trying to figure out this camera thing. Where is it, Mr. Horn? I know I'm wasting your show by trying to.
No, it's really okay. This is what's fun. Down in the bottom left, there's a video camera. Do you see it next to the microphone?
It's a stop video. If I click that.
Okay. Yeah, but if you hit the arrow next to it, there's a choose virtual background option.
Let me see if I can find it. Did I put it on this computer?
And if you did, there's a plus sign, like where you can add a photo for a virtual background.
You're a plus sign.
Yeah. My wife's going to hate that because that sounds like something I would say. Guys, we're also being joined right now, not only by Mr. David Lagana, but NWA referee Jarrod Fritz is also here.
I'm on with Gary Horn, the guy with the beard that's at our shows that follows you around. Yeah, so Kyle, I'll call you back, but I thought they would want to have you on. So
no, you should totally send it. You should send it to Kyle too. I should have sent it to him.
Yeah, I'm soaking. My shoulder's bothering me.
Okay, I'm going to hang up because I've already thought I was in a different chat room.
This is
Not
erotic.
the chat room I want to be in. Bye. I can't say if the giraffe or Rotella was there, but I can definitely say, where is this thing I sent to Maureen? Gary Vaynerchuk. That's not what it is.
Oh yeah, invite Gary Vaynerchuk in too while you're at it. Like since we're just having a party now, like just a giant Zoom chat.
Gary Vaynerchuk almost bought TNA with us.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
There's a video from September 11th, 2016, where Billy's meeting with Gary Vaynerchuk, and
I saw like a clip of that.
Yeah. We used it in some other stuff, but that day was right before the lawsuit, and that was basically, we went in there because he was going to help us. So okay, let me see if that works. How do I?
Oh, look at that, Carnyland.
Yeah, look at that. That's not the
There
best
we go.
version of it. This is quality stream television. Hello, Jeremy. How are you?
What's up?
I'm wearing my shirt.
Yeah, that's a nice shirt. You can't flash the Carnyland logo behind your head and that not be the first thing that we talk about right now.
Yeah,
Like I
agreed.
feel like we have to jump right
That's what they're
into
talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, what can you tell us about it besides what Billy already told us? Nothing. Probably.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Where is it?
This is why we do this show, for all the exclusives that we get. The scoops with a Z.
Yeah. With a Z. That's like, let's talk about May Valentine. Let's talk about
All
May's
right.
diary.
We can talk about May Valentine all day. Let's talk about her. Lagana, did you hear the interview I did with May Valentine?
You have a show?
Yeah, see, that's a no. You should check it out. May Valentine is a fascinating lady. Like I
Do you
enjoy
think
talking
May
to her.
Valentine lives? Do you think May lives in Carnyland?
I mean, I believe it. I believe she could. Yes.
Probably
Yeah,
right outside
Yeah.
on the
Well,
outskirts.
as Mr. Aldous said in Wrestling Days, this thing, it might be 2 towns over from parts unknown. So, or maybe 1. I have to remember there's another town that's 1 more over. So
Perfect. So wait. So now this makes me wonder if it's like a scripted show or if this is a what I know that's a weird term to use, but like are you like using all the unaired episodes of Friends that you wrote? Are you just doing that for
I brought Gunther back, and he's at the coffee house. What was his name? Whatever Gunther. I don't know. I feel bad. I used to talk to him all the time. I don't know what his name is. So.
Well, a lot of people in the chat, Mr. Lagana, if you didn't know, are super excited about Superpower and how outstanding this chat is now that you guys are all here.
Yeah.
I got a props for the May interview, and they wish that, or they're glad that TNA didn't work out and that you guys bought the NWA instead. So, do you feel that way generally?
I don't. As we talk about my cat. It's not my circus. And it's not my monkey. I've got my circus and my monkey is behind the Carnyland sign. So I don't worry about what if. We would have made that work too. So they're backed by $1 billion company that bought a TV network so that they can be on television. For us, we went a different direction.
Yeah. I mean, so did anything, I guess, I'm trying to think of fun questions I can ask you to talk about Superpower tonight, but did anything happen off the cuff that you didn't expect to happen for Superpower that you can think of right offhand?
I think Question Mark Jr.
That was like a last minute decision.
That was I'm just saying that was definitely off the cuff. He wasn't wearing cuffs. He was a big man. You can't wear cuffs when you're that big.
Can confirm.
Yeah. I'm just to the left of being a fat guy, and it's just I don't no cuffs. So
yeah, I gotta say I took personal offense. I was watching Camille's video right before this one, and she was talking about the one bikini that gave her a muffin top, and I was like, lady, come on, like let's be real for a second.
Some of us have a whole bakery. So. But yes.
Oh man, I'm excited to talk about Jarrod in this too, because he reffed like 2 of the matches. I saw his man bun in there floating around.
Signature for myself.
Yeah. Does it irritate you, Jarrod, when people yell out Adam Cole baby at every show?
No. I mean, if I can look similar to him, I'm not going to complain about that in any fashion there.
It irritates me. I'm sitting in the crowd, and no matter what, people always yell that.
I think they're just waiting for me to throw up the fingers. I don't know if that's what they're waiting for or not.
you how over the tag ropes are?
Oh man, that's Hebner's thing though. Like that's all him.
People love him to tie up the tag ropes. Clean it up
I
there.
saw that the first. I'm like, what is happening? Because I'm doing like 10 things at that time. I'm like, why are they why are they reacting? Like, what are they doing? Why are they wasting that? And I was like, oh, this is a tag rope thing. So I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Gary,
But,
have you had Brian Hepner on this show?
I have not.
Ooh, that's
Brian Hebner. I need to try to do better at hitting him up. You made a generous offer one time, Dave, and I'm trying to do this. Like, we're trying to grassroots this thing, like just build this thing up. Have you seen Will's videos? Hey, it's Will Haley. Like,
yeah, I think they were great.
Yeah, we added him
nice
to the
edge
This
to
Is the NWA.
Will, can you do any work on Gary's beard?
Well, mine's professionally done, so I can't personally do any work on it. But
Well, this is going a different direction than I wanted. But
it's just like all
we started
conversations when you slide in for scoops.
we went from a Zoom tutorial to hair care.
Mm-hmm. I need a haircut.
What's next?
Well, if Monkey was here, we'd do a cat show, but I don't want to take away from the giraffe show that's going on a different channel.
You guys are talking trash, but I'm seeing the pop-ups in my bottom right screen telling me we just get new subscribers. So like, I'm feeling pretty good about it. It's kind of nice. I think it's Lagana and his quarantine life. Like, people are ready to see him. He's been living in a cave for forever. They're like, is that guy still around?
Mm-hmm. I'm looking to see how many people have entered Carnyland on. The Instagram was at 0 and it's now at 150. So it's rocketing up on a first day. So
look at how great I'm doing. I didn't even know there was a Carnyland Instagram yet. I haven't even had a chance to look at that.
Because you can hop right on. I mean, you let wrestling days finish and then we hop on.
Yeah.
Did we all wish him a happy birthday? I feel like that didn't, like, I forgot to put something in the show for him that would have done but I have a feeling he might visit Carnyland too. So we all live in Carnyland, as I tweeted. Trust me, we all live in Carnyland.
This is perfect. I did DM him a happy birthday, and somebody's given me the go ahead that I should pitch to you that I want to be the next Oliver Humperdinck. I have we've been doing these little cast streams on for the fam, the hashtag NWA fam, and we'll watch stuff and chat on the cast app. And the other day we were watching Starrcade 89 and he was managing the Wild Samoans, and everybody thought if I would poke my gut out just a little bit more, open my shirt up, that I would
the Hawaiian shirt.
Need the Hawaiian shirt.
Or look up the Bam Bam Bigelow manager thing. You need that suit he had. It looked like a Figment from Epcot, or the guy that used to carry Figment from Epcot.
I love that. We kicked Robert Stinson out there. Is there any? You've got David Lagana right here in front of you right now. You've got Jarrod Fritz, the man who's been in the ring with all these people. Stinson, is there something you want to say to these folks?
Oh man, I love these guys. I feel like I know them just through Twitter and just how intimate the talent and the production team is with the fan base, and what you guys doing is the best thing in the world. Jarrod bringing the positivity every day. Lagana, production genius, man. I mean, what can you say?
Well, that's your daughter in the Mongrovian karate thing as the brawl was going by, right? That felt very.
Yes, sir. And I'm gonna tell you, my 10-year-old broke the Mongrovian oak, so she's got her 4th degree. My 18-month-old just yesterday put on her yellow stripe white belt. So
already tougher than Gary and I.
Yeah, it's 100% true. I'm going to tell you the greatest thing I think you guys ever did for NWA Powerrr was the moment you let Tim Storm kill off Danny Deals' Mama Storm. That's just my personal opinion.
It was. Did you? I texted Stu Bennett today. I said, I've set you up a date with both Mama Storms because he thinks this one's very hot, and we know what the other one looks like. So it's Stu's very into the Mama Storms.
That's good. I like that. Is no slight against Danny Deals, by the way. I think he makes a very nice Weasley manager, but the Mama Storm gimmick, I was like, yeah, I'm happy.
I get the
Tim,
heat
is
because you're
revenge.
pitching yourself as Oliver Humperdinck, so I understand why you would bury him, as Danny Deals and all that.
Well, you can't have too many managers. Well, the Dawsons lost their job apparently, so I don't. They lost that match and they're out, I guess. So that was the only team I had a hope for, unless you're going to bring in some wild Samoans or tattoo-headed people.
Hey, anything's possible when we can do shows again, but as Billy said, we can't. And trust me, it's not a decision we really love, but he did a really great live stream yesterday where he talked about touring concerts, and if they have to have 25% capacity, how expensive are those tickets going to be, and how can you afford to run the show? So this is a decision to do something else, and we think this will work. We think this is a winner.
So he mentioned this, and I won't say who, but somebody messaged me earlier today and said, do you think they're announcing that the NWA is being sold off? And I was like, no, I don't think that. And I hadn't even thought that up until you just asking that. And then on the video tonight, Billy mentioned no, we don't want to fold the NWA and blah, blah, blah. Was that a rumor going around? Was that something you had heard or something?
No, I mean, people will, because it's the same rumor as well, why don't you want a TV deal? Because more people watch our show than some television shows, and so people think one thing oh, well, you haven't run any tapings, or you're not I'm not going to rent out GPB, which by the way, I can't run anyway now until the end of June based upon their ordinance. Even if I wanted to do an empty arena show, I couldn't. And that's not the show we want to do. So someone sell, why would we sell? Our company's probably has less debt on it than actually we have no debt on the company.
Yeah.
So
I was just curious if that was a thing floating around. My wife is a saint. She's a saint, but she also provides #Jennifer notes, and she's texting me. She's like my little producer down here, and she says, I am not letting Will or Jarrod talk enough. Do you guys have something you'd like to say?
I'll definitely chime in when I need to.
What match did you have tonight, Jarrod? I watched it 100 times. It all blur.
I had the ladies triple threat, and then rock and roll and Aaron and question mark.
Yes, you let a lot of shenanigans go on the rock and roll match. I'm not going to lie. Maybe you need to talk to Question Mark Jr. and get him in shape. So
maybe do a whole entire series on the whole ref fit gimmick.
So Will, you the video I watched last night, you had watched up through 11. Did you get through all the episodes before today?
I did. I got through. Okay, I'll be honest, because time is limited for all of us, even in this quarantine. So I watched full episodes up to 16, and then the last 4 I had to just follow the storylines and keep on the train because I had to watch live. Tonight. It was just too much FOMO. I had to watch live. So
the show that you saw was not going to be the final edited one for Crockett Cup, because if you remember, that show was supposed to air March 14th. We had so much in the can. Gary, you guys everyone that was there, remember with the sit downs we did.
Yeah.
Not sure what's going to happen to those. They didn't fit in the show, and maybe Marty and Nick will fight someday if we can have a show somewhere. And the same with Aaron and Trevor. They're entertaining as hell, and I think the world will see them eventually. But no, so the show, I put a lot of stuff in from the last 4 episodes if you hadn't seen it. So you got caught up tonight watching the Mama Storm stuff and all the important stuff you saw. So
yeah, I really appreciate
watch
it.
it, loop it and all that, but watch it.
Yeah. Oh, I will. I'll go back, especially in this void between now and whenever we can go back to getting new live arena content. So
did you find it in the quarantine? Is that where you found the show?
Well, so I've been a wrestling fan my whole life, but this kind of quarantine kind of forced me back, and we're in this empty arena era. And honestly, man, for me, it sucks. I don't want to watch wrestling happen in an empty arena. I mean, my whole life, it's been a spectator sport and an event that happens to be on television. So I just don't have a lot of interest in watching an empty arena and wrestling going on. So there was just a lot of content on YouTube that you guys have put out. And I was like, this is great. This is perfect. I have a bunch of content I've never seen. It's just sitting there for free. I can go watch it. And I just dove in. I started with 10 pounds of gold, went through those, binge watched, as you saw, up to episode 16, and then got here tonight. So man, I'm shiny and brand new as an NWA fan, but I'm all in. It's been a wild ride. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah.
Welcome to the last 3 years of our lives. So it's funny when like going back and looking, it's like those first 5-10 pounds. I mean, like it's the same company, and we're very happy that we're able to keep the same sort of messaging and thoughts. And I always say about Tim Storm, there is nothing that man can't do. Like Tim, like everyone thought we were going to cut him day one, but that we were flying him to LA to beat him. And the plan was always for Tim to retain in the first match. People thought we changed that because how over he got. We believed in that guy. And, 10 pounds, my favorite shot of it, I had to put it in that end package, like coming up the belt, and there's Tim chewing gum. Like that's Tim. So in fact, he just texted me on my walk before Gary slid my DMs for the 32nd time today. And he's like, he wants to buy a camera, so Tim is virtually teaching. So, but he's also tanning by the pool some days, hours. So
that was when I started watching 10 pounds of gold. My biggest fear after the first, I guess, 3 or 4 episodes was that Tim Storm was not going to be present in current day NWA. So I was elated when I got to the first episode of Powerrr, and I was like, he's still here. He's still a central part of the show. Cause I honestly, I can't imagine the NWA in 2020 without Tim Storm.
Tim Storm, as I'll say it publicly, Tim Storm has a job for life. Tim is a Stephan Bonner in the UFC, and him and Nick, you call somebody at the blue, hey, we're going to do this thing that's not a TV show. We're going to use other people's stages. And their first indication is, oh, that's going to be real JoJo. That's going to be real. That's not going to be good. And, Billy and I had a budget, and Billy said, I could blow a whole bunch of money at the beginning. And by the way, Powerrr was supposed to be on Bleacher Report 3 years ago. We've talked about it publicly, the meetings we had with Turner. We developed this show, which is why we talked about, 100 yards away at Techwood Drive. That's where the show was developed for. So but Tim got us there, and so did Nick. People believed in it.
I noticed this time around. So what I thought the ending announcement was going to be, because you guys, you managed to, your awesome editing skills, you got rid of a lot of the upcoming, the dates and that sort of thing. So that was nice. But I noticed there still is a huge amount of reference to the Crockett Cup. So is that still in the plans?
Well, we faced 2 choices on the show. I could have hacked at it and got them all out. And we took out a lot of the Crockett Cup mentions that weren't there. So we wanted the show to air. I didn't want Eli's promo to get chopped up, because we would have taken it out of the show because it had no point, and it didn't forward anything, but it's our guy, everybody put such effort in. So we didn't want to change the show. What happened in the arena, as you guys know that were there, aired. We changed 2 small things, but it was more for timing or a talent discussion, but as far as what, we don't know until we know when we can run. It's hard to say, oh, we're gonna start with Crockett Cup. It's hard. That's why all these movies, if you notice, have been canceled for the summer, and they pushed it off to next year. It's not just because they want to wait for a right window. They just want to know where the world is, and you put a lot of money and effort into something, you don't want to rush it back out. And we have a lot of equity in the Crockett Cup. Last year's was so good. I don't want to start with a show that isn't going to be as good. So it depends on what the quality is.
Yeah, it was just curious because obviously you're still continuing. I know this whole event surrounded or worked around the Marty Skrull Nick Aldis feud. So
if you notice, there was a lot. We took out a lot of story out of that. So we wanted people to know the rivalry and not the beats of the story that we don't know if will matter. They're best friends. Marty wants something Nick has. Everyone understands that. Anything past that, they're not going to remember. Tell me what happened 3 weeks ago on Raw. You couldn't.
Right. Well, yeah, but who could?
Well, I watch your This Is Raw podcast, you Gary. It's very good.
I don't have the patience for that. So.
But, and I'll say this too, to your point. I mean, you know, everyone was aware that the Crockett Cup was coming up. And one of the things that I really appreciate about the NWA, and I say this in a couple of my videos, is the fact that, you know, you guys don't insult our intelligence as wrestling fans. You know that we're aware, right, of the situation in the world. We can't do live wrestling right now. We're aware that all of this was pre-taped. Like, nobody watched tonight thinking that that was happening right now, you know, and we knew that was
with you. If you go in the chat, there's some people who just think this was live and that we're putting people in danger. So,
well, this that we're doing right now is live. So, but no, it's like, that was one of the things I appreciated even through the 10 pounds of gold, was the fact that, you know, I felt like as a wrestling fan, my IQ was respected. And that's something that, you know, not naming any names, but I don't feel like other wrestling feds are giving me. And I really appreciated that. And so I think, you know, if you did try to go in and completely cut out all the mentions of the Crockett Cup, it would have felt not genuine. And it would have felt like, you know, you were trying to pull the wool over our eyes. So I appreciate that that was still, you know, very much a focal point.
Yeah, you know, I think we had hoped that this thing, you know, when we made the decision in March to pull it, you know, we had hoped this thing would only last 6 weeks. And I had multiple backup dates on hold, you know, for us to start shooting again. But as things evolved, it was just, you know, we got to the point that we were like, we can't wait around for this dance. It's over. You know, we got to, it's like Comic-Con. They're not pushing it back 5 months. It's just see you next year, because you don't want to get people out of the cadence of things. So, you know, and trust me, we hated pulling the Powerrr show, but we knew we were not doing Crockett Cup on that day. So why? It was just going to make you sad. You know, it's like, here's not what we're getting. So at least now in this indication, you guys got to go, oh, I missed this. Let me enjoy it. As opposed to, you know, when you're watching it and you're sad going, well, crap, I was supposed to go meet all my friends and go see this show. So it was that kind of emotion, because we still don't know what's going to happen. Like, I just saw Los Angeles is going to stay in lockdown for another 3 months. It's like, you just don't know.
Yeah. I've seen Los Angeles say everybody's taking a different approach. I mean, but Georgia seems to be opening back up, but you guys are going to approach it more nationally, I imagine.
No, and it's just more, it's more when we can produce the do you want to watch Powerrr with no fans?
No.
You want to watch it 25% full? We could do it without this, you know, and the guys that were there for the first shows, you know, we can do it without the side seats, and we can do it with 100 people, but what do we sell out into the fire in 30 minutes? You know, people want to come now. We want to do that show. You know, it might be fun to watch everybody wearing masks, but like, you know, Sandoval wearing a mask and wearing an Alabama mask.
I'm honestly surprised that tonight's merch item wasn't like a question mark, just a medical mask.
We talked about it. We have the bandanas, and we costed out, and it was just like, it just felt weird. You know, it's just like I don't know. And it was very early when I made the decision. I'm like, I don't want to walk into Walmart and see like a Gucci thing in your face, and just like, what statement are you saying? I'm all Gucci, you know, in a terrible pandemic. It's just that's like my concern with that item. So if you want to use the bandana, then that's, you know, it has multi-purposes. What are you going to do with it otherwise?
Whatever, that's fashion, baby. Don't shake your head at me, Lagana. You seem so disappointed.
Oh, the boss messaged me. So keep talking. I want to tell. He's asking how the show went. Hold on. Let's see.
Oh, somebody's asking how the show went. Hopefully someone important. I want you to know that I also slid, just for fairness, I slid into our president's DMs too. And I just said, I'm going to send you this. That's you? No, I'm kidding. It's not. I was going to say, I was like, it got a like. I don't know. That's as much as I can hope for. Yeah, somebody was asking me if I thought we'd see like new show dates, and I was like, I don't think so. I just watched Billy's Q&A last night. No, that's not going to happen, because he brought up a lot of interesting things that I hadn't thought about that people should consider, like as far as if you're operating at half capacity, then who gives in there?
Just multiply the ticket. Like, you know, it's no secret we run GPP at a loss. You know, if we charged $100 a seat, sure, we would pay, but that's just not fair to our audience. that's why we make it as nice and exclusive for the whatever it is, 20 people, because you want to get your seats. So like, just depends. So for us, like, what we charge $400, for the VIP, and it's like, what kind of juggling show am I gonna have to do for that? It's like, I like after the second time when we sat there and talked to everybody, I'm like, do you guys still like this? Do you want us to like add people? But we have new people every time. So, running a it's gonna be hard. A lot of businesses, that's why we made the decision not to run. We don't have a TV contract to fulfill. If we're not running, a large amount of our contractors don't have to be paid. So like, they don't like, we don't need their services every day like we do for the TV show. So, for us, this was figuring out how we can not just survive this period, but go for it. And this is a very big idea. And that's why Billy's like, I'm looking forward to seeing, because we're going to find it. It's something we've had for 3 years, actually longer. We came up with the name while we're at TNA. So.
That's awesome. I'm just happy you guys are still finding ways to put out new inventive content, and I'm excited to see what Carnyland is. How do you and Jarrod know each other? Did you know each other before NWA Powerrr? How does one become an NWA referee?
Jarrod worked very hard for Maureen at Queens of Combat and a lot of places in North Carolina, and Jarrod saved my life at one of the TVs. My neck was bad, and he's a physical therapist. And literally, since that day, my neck hasn't hurt like it hurt before. So, I'm not saying you have a job for life. You have a job for life. My neck hurts.
As long as your neck hurts, right?
Yeah. No. And Jarrod's great. Jarrod, what was the deal? You came in and did one TV as the fourth ref. We gave him the dark match, and and talk through your experience, Jarrod. What's it like there? Because I don't think a lot of people understand how open it is.
Yeah, so Maureen reached out to me with basically the presentation of the deal that I would come down for Into the Fire and actually only work as a massage therapist in the back during that time. And then I was offered the match with Tasha and Thunder Rosa. And then the understanding was just to do the TV tapings as kind of a interview, if you will. And it's really exciting. It was nerve-wracking at first, only because I don't want to say a perfectionist, but I like to make a good impression. And I didn't know a lot of people that were there, with the exception of Maureen and the Dawson brothers. So it was really cool learning everybody, meeting everybody, and just kind of the evolution was just so organic and so natural that, I mean, everything just kind of fit perfectly. And, I've enjoyed myself and very privileged ever since then.
Yeah, we have a good group of people that just, like Kyle, who call me from the bath.
Is that a regular thing?
Yeah, it's fine. Kyle, Kyle was my interviewer on Ring of Honor when we did the HDNet show, which is you want something to binge, go watch that. And it's funny, back then everyone thought the show was, it's kind of boring. It now has less wrestling that's on TV now, but it has we trained this generation of stars with that show, and Kyle was my stick man. There's interviews with him and Kevin Owens and Steve Corino and Seth Rollins and Claudio and like all those people. Like, that show was the training ground. But Kyle was with me then. It ended, and he thought, oh, my wrestling career is over. And I called him 8 years later and said, you live in Atlanta. It's your lucky day. You live in Atlanta. You're my number 4 stick man, because I had Galley, Cornette, and Marquez ahead of him. But then as things happened, he was around. He did all the backstage interviews, which you've seen not a lot of them. Some of those will be on the DVD, and we're going to repurpose them for something else. But Joe Galley lost his voice on the second day. And I said, Kyle, you're in. He goes, what? And he didn't even say what. He went in, and he was prepped, and he was good. So you just got to be on site and ready to work. A lot of people show up and think, well, this is what I want to do. Well, if you can't do what I want you to do first, why would I ever do what you want to do? And that's how we work with everybody. Jarrod did well in the first match. I think I told you only once or twice your butt's in the camera. Yeah. And but it's a whole different world, and he was willing to learn. And Robert King wasn't able to make the tapings, so he was the third ref for this time. So it's great.
I love the familial aspect of it. We started this hashtag.
I got to plug my computer in, but keep talking.
All right, we'll see you later.
Carnyland Tuesday.
Carnyland, maybe it's Tuesday.
Free plug. Shameless.
No, man. Jarrod, so when did you get into refereeing? Were you always a wrestling fan? Like growing up
yeah.
and stuff?
Well, yeah. And that was kind of a tough thing for me because my mom was terrified of it. She, of course, thought I was going to break my neck or whatever. So she kept me away from wrestling for a long time. But my uncle was a big Dusty Rhodes fan. So I watched a lot of Dusty Rhodes with him. And then I would sneak into my bedroom and turn Superstars on. And as I hear it come down the hallway, I'd turn it off real quick. But then when I was 12 years old, I found out that we were going to be moving to Japan. My dad was military. And I was distraught. My whole life's over. So she really gave in on the whole, you can go watch professional wrestling if that'll make you happy. So for about a year before we moved, me and a buddy of mine, we just binged the hell out of wrestling, and it was awesome. And little did I know back then, I wish I really would have known about New Japan to learn more while I was there, because I was a 30-minute train ride from the Tokyo Dome. And I could have seen so much there, but I didn't get that opportunity. And then when I came back, life got in the way. I moved out on my own when I was 17 years old. And so I was just focusing on work. And then one of the doctors that I worked with at the '08 Olympics is now a doctor for WWE. And he got me kind of back into the swing of things. So I worked with WWE several times as a massage therapist there, and then learned all about the indies, and really all I wanted to do is provide sports massage to the wrestlers. And the trainer that is here locally, quote, saw something in me and started training as a referee, which evolved into a wrestler for a short period of time. And then I found that I could provide more value to shows as a referee than I could as a wrestler. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
So you've had wrestling training. That's kind of cool.
I have. Yeah. Well, it's my belief, and this is how I was trained, is that whether you're going to be a referee or not, you should still train as a wrestler so that you can be more aware of what's happening, the way things should look, the way things should act. So that way, because as a referee, your sole purpose is the safety of everybody inside that ring, whether it's a work or a shoot. You have to be there, and you have to know how things are supposed to look and how to react to those. So I trained really hard, and I still train actually, not currently right now because we're on lockdown and everything, but I still train as a wrestler whenever I get the opportunity to.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because we were watching like Starrcade '89, we were talking about too, like even the commentary, we think it's important, like just how much they know what's going on sometimes in the ring too, like just to be able to tell people what's happening, like what the story is, and that sort of thing. And the NWA does that. But yeah, you, my wife is jealous of you because she would love to be, she's a nurse. So she just is constantly like pitching like, well, how do I be a nurse for wrestlers? And so it's a very awkward conversation anyway, Jarrod, I should say, by the way, folks that are watching this, if you haven't already, you should hit Jarrod up, because he is also an advocate for this company called Advocare, and we've been working together. And I was getting a little lost during quarantine and letting myself just get out of line as far as I had been going to the gym and trying to be healthy. And then once quarantine hit, I gave up. And Jarrod helped get me back into shape. Like as far as I'm still probably not even back to where I was prior to quarantine, but I'm getting there now again. Jarrod keeps me active and busy. He's an excellent coach, and you should talk to him about the 24-day jump start and that sort of thing that he helped me out with. It's been super beneficial. I lost I think 13 pounds in just a few weeks. So it was pretty impressive. And now I'm motivated to just not let myself go anymore.
Hey, when you feel good, you want to do good, right?
Right, exactly. So thanks, Jarrod, for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Lagana, what are you doing over there? You just look like you're
I was messaging the boss, so he was asking again, what's up with your beard?
My beard? Nothing's wrong with it. So here is the thing. The one thing that I did let go once quarantine started, like literally the first day, and I told my wife, I was like, the beard, I'm just gonna see what happens. I'm just gonna I'm not gonna trim it. She made me finally like trim up on my cheeks the other day because it was like growing up towards my eyes. She was like, that's ridiculous. Like, you got to do something with that. But otherwise, it was just like, I just want to see how long it gets. So that's what's up with my beard. Tell your boss he can jump in anytime. Jarrod would love to talk to him.
Ooh. Oh, no, right now.
Hey, Jarrod, I've got a question, man. So when you were getting started, wrestle training, looking to be a referee, what did you think the most difficult part of that whole process was for you?
Conditioning and timing. Just when it comes to conditioning, anybody who's ran ropes inside of the ring, it looks really, really easy, but it's really, really not. And you've got to get your timing down. You got to get your breathing down. You could run a marathon and still get blown up running the ropes for 2 minutes. It's a completely different ball of wax. And I've always been very active my whole entire life into fitness and working out in a lot of different ways. I did CrossFit competitively. I did powerlifting competitively. I did a lot of things throughout my life, but there was really nothing like it. But once you get conditioned to it, and that timing works really, really well. So I think timing is everything. Because as I explain it to a lot of people, it's a dance inside that ring for everybody that's involved with it. You have to be very accurate and you have to be very agile. So that was the toughest thing for me.
You've got to literally like be thinking of everything that's happening in and around the ring, not just what we as the fans are focused on. So yeah, I imagine the mental part of it as well would be, super tough.
Absolutely.
Well, you did. I noticed in this particular show on Superpower, you were there for 2 of the matches, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And it was you were there for the triple threat with the women, with Marty Bell, Ashley Vox, and Tasha Steeles, and you were there for the Rock and Roll versus Aaron Stevens and question marks. So you had like a tag team match and a triple threat match. Does one of those present like a bigger issue for you as a referee than the other?
I wouldn't say bigger issue. It's just anytime you have more people in or around the ring, it's just, you got to be on your toes and very aware.
Okay. So even when it's Aaron Stevens and he is just full of shenanigans at all times.
You always got to keep a special eye on him, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is it easier or harder with his flesh-colored tights that he wears sometimes?
I don't know. I've never had to work with him with his flesh-colored tights. He's always been in the gi.
Okay.
People were not pleased with his flesh-colored tights. So.
I thought it worked for what he was going for. Go ahead.
As a person who just saw them for the first time in the last week, yes, that's still freshly burned in my mind.
You waive your right to sue when you watch the show, so you can't sue for burned retinas in the rider. When you click play, that's in the rider. You can't sue for his tights.
Lagana, I'm getting questions about is Stinson sleeping? And B, are we going to see any more circle squared?
Yeah, so we have 3 in the can, but again, you pull it out, and the idea was from the first, I think from the male division, we would bring people back, and if we can't do the format the way we wanted it, it's hard to use those matches now, because especially if you put them on now, it would be like, oh, you took power from me. Doesn't put that show in the best position to succeed.
Okay. All right. Well, I've seen Danny Jordan showing up in another company now, so I'm just saying, like, it's just.
We wish everybody to make. If somebody can literally, if Jarrod got called and they wanted him to work, I would say go do it.
Yeah.
How can you say no to somebody that wants to work?
No, that's
we want our people to stay, and so trust me, we made this work so people can keep working in this period without shows. It's very hard, It's anyone that runs their own individual business. Decisions you made in January, you cannot make the same decisions in June or next January. So you have to pivot. Hence the GIF I put up yesterday.
Yes, that you've been doing like these really weird, curious posts about prepare and
One word.
pivot,
Yeah.
and just very mysterious.
Why use all the characters when one word will do?
All right, fair enough. So what are you guys watching during your binge? Like, or during your quarantine? Like, are you binging a show? Are you doing anything besides Power? Like, what is Lagana and what does Jarrod do? Like, what do you guys do in your spare time when you're not thinking about wrestling?
Well, I've become an amateur landscaper, doing a lot of yard work, doing a lot of workouts in the backyard. I'm lucky enough to have some apparatus that I can use. And there's a group of guys that I help. I don't want to say I help train them, but I help with training. So since I can't actually be there, we've got a Facebook group. So I just like to watch a lot of old matches, random matches from different eras and everything, and just kind of go back with the things that personally that I like or that stuck out, that things that, some of the guys that I've learned from have pointed out, and just kind of convey that to them. So I'm watching a lot of old wrestling. Like I think I watched Vern Gagne versus Red Bastien the other day, which was a fantastic match. Very, very cool stuff you don't see these days. A lot of early mid 80s WWE, a lot of the characters and stuff like that. Early 90s too.
Gotcha. What about you, Lagana? What are you doing?
So I started rewatching for another project we came up with this week that's not involved with this. By the way, the boss says hello. He appreciates you guys staying in the game. So, so it looks. I'm also getting it. So the DVD for people to binge for how long they are, the Powerrr 1 DVDs are selling really well. But I watched The Newsroom season 1. If you've not watched that, I would say watch that. Season 2, it starts to go off the rails, and by season 3, it's rattling like my 81 Buick I used to have. So, and then I watched Silicon Valley the first season. I watched the last season of Silicon Valley, and it wasn't good, so I went back to watch it from the beginning. So
it was really solid early on.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Mike Judge, and smart people, and then The Newsroom is Aaron Sorkin when he's clean, and he had tried to do a show like that called Sports Night, which is one of my favorite shows ever, and like Newsroom's, it's almost a perfect show. The first season's almost perfect.
Gotcha. Do you still have like a desire to work in the television stuff? Like, I mean, as far as that sort of television.
So I went back after my first run, or my run at WWE in 2008, went back to LA to try and get back to where I was in 2002 when I left. And I found it to be different in 2008. The number of sitcoms had gone from, when I was on Friends, there were 26 sitcoms on the air across 4 networks, like multi-camera, so the number of jobs were multiplied. When I went back in 2008, there were 9. And now, I mean, I know Netflix produces them. It's not the same genre anymore, but I noticed those jobs were gone, and it's just nothing I'd love to do it, but that's as much a rigged system as pro wrestling. And there's a lot more people. I mean, you've seen how it's changed. And by the way, it's like, what's the last TV show you discovered by changing the channel? Like you got to, right. Like I remember when I was on Bob Patterson, which was Jason Alexander's first sitcom after Friends. We had 11 million people watch it, and we were a failure.
What?
Yeah. Because that was, back then, network television show. I mean, Friends was doing 21 million viewers. It's like, people, it's just, everything's different. So like this way, Eric Bischoff said on a podcast, it's like, when you do the long tail of, you write a show and it takes 9 months to get produced. There's something nice when you can literally say to somebody in their ear and they can say it on television 2 minutes later. There's a test of your spirit of what you can get done quickly. So that's what this. If I could do this show every day, I would do this show every day.
So the one question I keep getting asked, and it keeps popping up in this chat too, so I'm just going to ask you this because I told people that it probably has something to do with the Legends contract, but have you ever talked to Ric Flair at all about any of this stuff?
Rick it would depend on what it is, where we do it, and ultimately, you know, Rick, he's definitely under a Legends contract from what I understand, but no.
So I was figuring that probably prevented him from doing anything.
Yeah, but I'm social with Rick and his wife, you know, so like for me, like I, you know, we talk not regularly, but when necessary, just pleasantries and such. You know, Rick watches the show. We know he does. And, you know, it's got to be a time warp for him to look at. It's like, where was this for the last little bit of time? So, and we'd love to have Rick. I know the big rumor about Sting leaving. I love Sting. You know, like Sting was when I went to TNA, it was like one of the last big names from when I watched they hadn't worked with. So like, we love all the legends from that. The good part about our world is we can tell those stories at any speed. We don't have to tell them at 100 miles an hour like other companies do because they have to meet numbers. You know, we can move at the speed we want. Like the Rock and Roll Express, you know, we love Ricky and Robert. You know, like they helped to put us on the map on multiple, like with Crockett Cup last year. You know, they brought in old fans and go look at their episode numbers. The match with Nick and Ricky did great. You know, people love the Rock and Roll Express, and you just have to know what to use them for. So, you know, so like we love all the legends. It's just it has to be the right thing. And, you know, I'd love to do more with Rick.
Yeah, and Sting is definitely the other one that I see all the time that people ask about. So you kind of covered that. That's good. I appreciate you. I'm sure that you see all of these names pop up constantly. You probably hear like random names that we don't even see. Tommy Rich is still out there somewhere.
Yeah, no, we like Austin Idol, like and you know, Tony Falk. You know, people names pop up. It's what they're willing to. Once they get past that Billy's just doesn't have an open checkbook, then you see what people really want to do. And so, you know, so if the opportunity's right, you know, it would have been great to have Flair at Crockett Cup, right? You know, like Atlanta, you know, the Crockett's, it would have been great. You know, we didn't get to that point because we didn't need it. So like, you just see what the opportunities are and what it's worth.
Got really quiet. I was trying to give anybody else an opening to say something if they wanted.
This is the good part of the internet. It just goes on forever.
It does. Well, here's the thing. Like, we planned this thing out, right? Like I wrote out like a whole list. I'm like, all right, I took deep notes on Superpower. I'm like, we're going to do a recap of Superpower. That's what we'll do. We'll hop on. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the announcement of Carnyland. Let's toss around ideas. Let's think about what that is. And then partway through, I'm like, well, I'm talking to Jarrod and I'm like, hey man, if you want to hang out with us, that'd be cool. And he was nice enough to say that he would. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to throw this out there. This is our first, like, since the new YouTube channel, let's just throw out some invites. And then frickin' Dave Lagana just shows up on the first day.
So you're saying that you crashed your own car.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what happened here.
There was no animal that ran in front of it. You just purposely did this.
I was like pedal to the metal. Just I'm gonna keep driving. I'm just gonna.
And you gave us no warning, so we were prepared.
Yeah, these guys had no idea.
I'm used to just filming my bit and chopping it up and putting some funny pictures in there. I'm not used to interviewing people. That's your gig.
And they were super excited to see Jarrod. They were like, oh my God, that's awesome. Jarrod's going to be here too. And I was like, all right. And then I was like, hey, wait, we got another person and David Lagana's here. They were like, wait, what's going on right now? So I'm getting all these messages. It's like, what are you doing? Why you didn't tell anybody about this? But I kind of appreciate it too.
You're shooting your own angle.
I love it. I think it's kind of fun, like having you guys here. So it's all right with me. Where did Robert Stinson go? Are you still alive over there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening and learning, man.
He's being swallowed by.
I guarantee you, nobody tuned in tonight to hear Robert Stinson. So I'm here to listen, man.
I just wanted to, hey, Rod Funches, that name came up in the chat.
What about Ron Funches?
I don't know. That just came up in the chat.
Somebody just said that. Like no context.
No, they said non-wrestling celebrities are watching Power, like Rod Funches.
Yeah, Ron Funches. He loves the question mark. So like, I think we sent him a question mark mask. So like,
that's awesome.
I do love that. Has there been anybody that you're like, has anybody talked to you yet that is like watching Power that you're like surprised to hear is watching Power? Like, has anybody caught you off guard yet?
No, because the goal of the show is not only just, it's the show we would want to watch, so it's, would we want to watch this? And if it's no, it doesn't go on the show. So, we created it for who we think we are as fans, and then who we think it would appeal to. And, it's, if you pop somebody, so that's why the Austin Idol thing's so important, because it's like, what is going on over there? And then you see the traditional too. So nothing surprises me, because we hope it's a show they can enjoy.
What is the weirdest thing, or like the most annoying thing that you guys get asked about? I'm just curious. Like, if you were talking to me trying to interview you guys, obviously I could ask the same old stuff or whatever. There's obvious like same old questions, but like what's the most obnoxious thing you guys keep getting asked? We can clear up right now. Stop asking me this. Same with you, Jarrod. Like, both of you. Like, what's the thing that's like, okay, that's enough.
What's it like to work with so and so in the ring? Well, it's like working with anybody else in the ring. It's I don't think that people, and I don't know why, but I've never had the perception of stardom celebrity. Like, people are people, they want to be real. And so it's hard for me to answer that question when people ask me that. And I get asked that quite often. So that's the confusing. I don't want to say it's an annoying thing. It's confusing because I don't really know how to answer it.
Is it like they're like, oh, hey, so when you ref a Nick Aldis match, what's he like? Are they like, is it like you think they're expecting like, oh, he's a dick? Like, is it like? No,
honestly, I don't even know what to think that they're expecting, for that matter. It's just like, what is it like being in there in the ring with them? It's just like, I don't really know. I mean, it's just very hard to explain that or to answer that properly, to give anybody what they might be expecting out of that.
I'd be more interested in what it was like to give them a massage, right? You don't get
that? I don't think I've ever actually had anybody ask me that, which is a good thing, because
Who felt the best when you were just like rubbing them down?
Oh man, now it got off. We had Kyle in the bathtub, and now we got this. What the hell? I didn't sign up for any of this.
How's your car driving here, Gary? How's your car driving?
Oh, it's great. I feel like it's running smooth. Like when I first bought her. Like, it's awesome. It's more that like this is the first car I've ever had. So I don't know, like as far as comparisons, I have none. So as far as I know, this is the smoothest driving car that one could possibly drive.
Tremendous. Well, I will answer the question you asked before. What do people keep asking? I know when they ask a certain question, they're not watching the show. Because if you're asking that question, okay, and if you're going to leave because of that one thing that you're asking about, then that it goes back to our staff. You're on the team or you're off the team. If you're not on the team, then go. Or you can hang out, but you're not on the team. Same with our fans. You're either on the team or you're not. Like Maureen sent me really like how many of these DVDs we sold. Those are people who love the show, that it's literally for free on their YouTube, which is literally free. But they want to support us. Like that's the people we want to keep around. And so like people who ask about a singular thing, it's just like, okay, if you're so fixated on it, then we're sorry, we're not going to make just one thing for that.
Wait, so I don't know if I'm one being slow here, but like, what do you mean like a singular thing? Is there like a specific singular?
The one singular want a change to the show, like, and it's like habitual.
like entrance music or something.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, it's like that's not the show. If we started, like, if to me any change, if we add something, it should enhance what you already started, not just be like, oh, why didn't you have that? So yeah, because it's like, by the way, that first day when I interviewed Nick Aldis here for one of the documentaries we're going to put out later this year, you know, he was very concerned about walking out without music. He like, if you will see him walk out, that's where he got the swagger from, because he's literally doing the music in his head, because he wants to, like, you have to feel it. But once the audience understood that they were the music, we went, great. That's, if we get asked all the time, I don't worry about that. It's just like, that's what drew you in. But it's not, you're not staying for the entrance music. You're not leaving because there is no entrance music. You know, it's just, it's a choice for texture. It's like, like, you can always tell when someone doesn't really understand a movie and like, well, I didn't like the sound of it. Like, but then just watch something like that's, you're looking at it, or like, I like that. You know, you have to see, like, or why do you, if you're going to watch something that frustrates you on no entrance music, like, that's the funny part of, like, people who habitually, that's what I mean, they keep asking the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah. The entrance music, it's one of those things that, like, I think when Will and I first recapped episodes 1 and 2, we're like running through a rewind right now of NWA Powerrr. And that was one of the things Will and I talked about. And he brought it up, and it was a thing I had totally forgotten about. Like, it had been so far into NWA Powerrr that I had kind of forgotten that people don't have entrance music anymore. And then I had to, like, remind myself, well, hey, at pay-per-views, they still do. Like, I remember thinking about it at first, but now it's not even like a process. I don't know.
It's normal. It's the new normal for you in that environment. Like, when we were going to do Crockett Cup, there was going to be entrance music because, you know, we don't think it's there yet where we could not do entrance music in a big building. And that's why, then for the pay-per-views, that's why we did the entrance music, so you felt like it was different. Literally, you paid for the music. Like what was the other difference? And then where the guys walked out, you know, and that's a fun rehearsal for everyone. As you guys have walked down them stairs, they are not the most sturdy stairs you'll ever walk on. So, like, that's what, like, that was a choice we made.
Dude, seeing people fight on those stairs, like, scares me even today. Like, just Storm and Jack Stain,
that fight, like Robert did.
Right. Man, I could smell their deodorant. They were so close to me.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Jack Stain, Gary just mentioned him. So, a question about tonight. I mean, I know everything's up in the air. You guys don't know when we're starting back. Is he somebody that's going to be a key player moving forward? Because, I mean, that Jack's Tim Storm match was killer for me.
Yeah, we've kind of held Jax off because we know how impressive he can be, and we didn't even really like he wasn't originally part of this thing, but a change happened. We went, you know, let's go with it, and so, like, he executed really well. He's impressive. You know, we didn't even really get into the story because we didn't want to do the full story this time, you know, as far as, you know, what happened with the belt on stuff. So, you know, we had to bring Mama Storm out, you know, so, like, you know, he was very impressive. And again, just like with Jarrod, like, he just wanted a chance. And, you know, you can't do anything bad for Tim Storm. Like when you see how over Tim is, and they both helped each other, he of course was willing to help Tim in that moment, and it was great for Tim. You know, that, like, the one more time is something that, like, when they, like, you know, that was great for Tim, and I was very happy for him.
Yeah, and there was also, for me, you know, just going back and watching the 10 pounds of gold, there was a lot of mystique around how Tim Storm became champion, because, you know, I used the power of Google and found nothing about that match. No video, no photos, nothing. I could find the date, you know, on Wikipedia. But other than that, there wasn't really a lot. So there was always, you know, this, and when I say always, I mean for the last month of my life since I started watching it. But there was like a mystique around, you know, Jack Stain and what that feud looked like. And now I feel like there's been a not a payoff because I want to see more, but there's definitely been some legs given to that legend or that story of how Tim Storm became champion in 2016.
Yeah, we there's so much to tell there, and it's why there was a manager involved, because like Jax didn't say anything, but you knew what his impression was off his physicality. So Jax was great, and he had been a tag team for years with Crimson, and that's a different style for him. So for him to do this, he was great, and they had a lot of chemistry and history together.
Yeah, well,
I'd be curious about. Oh, go ahead, Will. Go ahead, Will.
No, I was just gonna reiterate. I mean, I want more. I want to see more. While I've got your ear, I want to see more.
I'd be curious about has there been discussion about reaching back to the years prior to Jax Dane, even like to an Adam Pearce? I know that I think he's with WWE right now doing some stuff, but bringing in some of those guys or bringing their legacy into the production, because there is, we call it, I think it was on Twitter today, someone was talking about, I don't like the term of the wilderness years, but there was a lot of richness there too. I mean, not, with 10 pounds of gold, it's really become very, very vibrant. It felt like during the 80s when I was growing up and all that. But, I really enjoyed Adam Pearce's reigns, and I thought he was a worthwhile champion. There were some others there in those days. I just wondered, had there been some discussion about drawing back into that time frame?
Yeah, I mean, Adam's a friend. Adam was the reason I went to work at Ring of Honor, because I was working, ironically, in 2008 with Marquez when he was a part of the NWA. I was working on their TV show. So, like, for us, I'd love to work with Adam. He got a great job at WWE. If any time he's available, he can walk on that set tomorrow and be one of the top 5 talkers on the show. So, no, I love Adam, and it just has to be the story. So, for example, if we had for the nemesis of Tim Storm fight somebody else, it wouldn't have felt as good of a Jax. You just knew there was a surface. So if there's any story that can have context in our surface, then yeah, we'll do it.
Right. It feels like, in the last 20 years, when you think about the pantheon of great NWA World Champions, obviously Flair's in that mix, and Aldis, I think, is rapidly getting there, especially with this historic reign that he's on now. But Pearce is right there in that discussion, and there's a lot of the community that I don't think is aware of that. But man, it would be, how much he would enrich the stories.
Yeah,
I love Pearce.
We got some messages about Pearce and Severn, like when we did that with Stinson. And sorry if you just said this, but the as far as that PWI versus NWA thing we did, which was fun. But we got some messages about like how we seem to skip over Pearce and Severn and like that whole period or something. Like I think there was a group out there that cared.
Right. That was kind of a painful period, and nothing wrong with what happened during those days, because I mean, especially with there's one member of the NWA fam that's posting an NWA TNA show every day. It's neat to go back and watch that. But I think for those of us who grew up with Crockett Promotions in Georgia and all that back in the late 70s, early through 86, 87, 88, the wilderness years, I think it encapsulates something about just a loss of like the prestige of the NWA title. I felt like for a long time it was used as a gimmick or a side belt. I think with when Killings had it, he was a great champion too. But I feel like that's Adam Pearce unfortunately gets thrown into that, and that's not right, because he's one of the great NWA champions of all time. And I would love to see an effort to kind of reclaim some of that wilderness time, because there's a lot of vibrance and there's a lot of great NWA history during those years that a lot of old NWA fans, and especially some newer ones, aren't aware of.
Yeah, I was there for there's if you go look on YouTube, I think it's called NWA Spotlight Hollywood or something, and like it's Adam Pearce and Bryan Danielson and the Young Bucks. Adam can go, and his work at Ring of Honor, as the booker, he showed he was great. He was very competent. I love Adam. I wish you could do it, but I also am happy that he can have a very well-paying job in the same business.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
How does it, I appreciate that you guys like really delve into the past stuff. Will asked me, sorry, we're getting a chance to relive all this stuff. Cause like, especially like hanging out with Will, and he's digging into the 10 pounds of gold and like digging into the first episodes of Powerrr. Now he's like plowing through them, but the stuff with like Shane Douglas and stuff, was that legit? Like that Shane declined to be on it? I think that was a specific question we got.
There was two discussions. One he doesn't remember. I said we're open to working with anybody, but this is what we want. And he said, I'm good, but I'd be open to work in the future. I saw him 2 times after, like he did decline, and we would love to have him be a part. And if we would have pulled that Band-Aid, then your desire is satiated, so it's interesting to have these little like pop up little things. So maybe Adam Pearce in 5 years is, if he retires from that job, does this, there's options in when you pull the Band-Aid. Everyone wants every Band-Aid pulled. That's what I was talking about, people who fixate on one thing. If we're pulling every Band-Aid, you don't go at the right speed of healing, and growing.
I'm getting in the chat, like, what were your feelings as far as that PWI thing? Did that, like, what are your thoughts that you're willing to share with us as far as when we, that whole thing? I mean, we took it upon ourselves as the hashtag NWA fam to go at them about that, like that they were they didn't announce that they were recognizing the NWA World's Championship as a legitimate World's Heavyweight Championship. But where does somebody like you stand on that?
So they emailed on some other business, and I just let them know some of our talents feedback. I said, we're not posting anything publicly. And basically from what I was told was all he was doing was restating the stance that had existed prior. And it was, I guess, a new person from the old person. So I don't worry about it, because there's a whole bunch of people. I read our comments, in our show, and people going, the people who find the show and watch it. Like, I can't worry about what a magazine lists our title as. It's written in our belt. So if they want to change our belt, I'll be happy to do it. But that's not even the level of discussion on this. We're the world's championship. It's literally in our belt. So
I don't think you owe like that much of an explanation for as far as, I mean, you guys acknowledge the history of this business and this company more so than freaking WWE acknowledges their own history. So like, I'm always amazed by the fact that like, if anybody would challenge that, like you guys, you literally consider everything that's listed from 1948 on, like you handle it. The only thing that I found that I will eventually pursue once we grow this thing further is that you and Billy consider including the Puerto Rican Viano, is that his name? What's his name?
The one with Flair, right?
Yeah,
Right.
the one with Flair. That's the one. I'll pursue that one. That should be recognized as a legitimate title change. Like I like that one, and that I've met so many people just through this podcast that are from like Puerto Rican descent or Dominican descent. I'm sorry, Dominican descent, and including Marty Bell, who like. That's a whole thing for those people. Like that's a big deal.
No, there's so much story to be done, but again, you have to have the right context for it. If we just did it tomorrow with no like backstory, it's like if you've watched the Jordan stuff, there's a really great context to the story, because otherwise it's like, I know that story. You have to tell it in a unique way.
Yeah, I'm getting in the chat like no already, but I'm sorry, I'm typing to them to eat me right this second also. But no, I love that story. I think it's a fascinating story. And
there's all of them, like there's so many different stories, like there, but you just have to find the ones you can tell and you can tell well. Again, do I want to watch it? I don't want to watch a poor version of a story. I want to watch the good version of a story I didn't expect.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, what's fun about this whole thing is like the people you got. I mean, I assume that you already know this, but like from a guy like Jarrod, who has like a fascinating, and no offense here, you're the referee, and then there's like the like wrestlers, and then there's like even the backstage people. It feels like everybody in NWA has these awesome stories, and I don't know, maybe that's the way that it is everywhere and I'm just not appreciating it. But I love just talking to these people. I've had a chance to just like interviewing the people, like let's take it, like for instance, like a Marty Bell, and hearing her history of where she comes from, like what stories matter to her, like where her family is and that sort of thing. Taking a person like Mae Valentine, who is Brazilian and is like a best-selling author, and like nobody, you've got her doing, like she's doing Mae's vlog, and she lost 100 followers because Royce got pissy, but also she was like dealing with the West Memphis 3, like one of the first people they contacted, like there's some fascinating stuff with the talent that's involved in the NWA right now. And I it's like every day I just wake up and I'm like, oh, I gotta, well, okay, I don't want to sound crazy, but a lot of days when I think about it, like there's some really cool people that work for you guys.
Right,
thanks for making it awkward silence after I said all that, so I appreciate that.
Good tap dance was nice. All right, give me your, before I leave, each guess what you think this is.
Carnyland.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I'll start with Jarrod because I don't think Jarrod knows, but
Jarrod has zero idea, but I would like to think that it has something to do with the possibility of behind the scenes of certain people.
yeah. Robert?
Same thing. I imagine that we're looking at some talent, talking with Strictly Business, Nick Aldis, and some other guys, and going behind the scenes with some of their stuff, and maybe throw in some footage that you guys haven't shown us yet. But I that's my suspicions. I mean, I love Carnyland. I think that's great. Throwback to the old days, the Frank Gotch, George Hackenschmidt days. So love it. I bought my shirt. The shirts are on sale, guys. NationalWrestlingAlliance.com, $19.99. I just bought it like an hour ago. So
that shirt you buying, like we're not gonna, like the logo will be the yellow color for the future shirts, but for the early ones they'll be that. So
I like black and white, man. I like that. That's my thing.
All right, well, what do you think it is?
I'm hoping it'll be more of a sci-fi vehicle where we can kind of see these guys in space. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm just going to steal Jarrod and Robert's idea that, based on their knowledge of the industry and of the NWA, which is far deeper than mine at this point, that, behind the scenes, in-depth look, maybe some personal stuff. And that was one of the things I loved about 10 Pounds of Gold. So maybe it's a little bit of that kind of flavor, because I loved seeing, Tim Storm in his hotel room the day after he lost the title and stuff like that. So maybe just the real kind of the, no pun intended, but raw side of wrestling. And that would be really cool.
All right, Gary, besides a tap dancing show with Marty Bell and Orville Brown, what do you think it is?
Well, now that you've wiped every option off the table, this is like, it's a 40s sitcom, and it's in a circus tent. It's like Friends circus tent. They all live in the same circus tent, and Dallas is married to obviously Courtney Cox or something, and that's what I'm guessing. And I just imagine a flat hat on Nick Aldis, suspenders, that sort of thing. That's what I'm hoping for. No, man, I think the thing that people really want that I think you're going to give them is probably another reason to appreciate everything about these folks that are involved in the NWA. I mean, the stuff that I was just talking about, that everybody involved has an amazing story, and that's the coolest part. That's the thing you guys offer that's so much different, that 10 pounds of gold started, that every company I think right now wishes they had, that they can't handle. That you guys started in the situation that like the whole world is in right now. It was like you guys were doing that already. Like you guys knew the best way to handle that at the beginning. And I think you just take it back to that. That's my prediction, because you already had the right equation.
Yeah, it'll be a fun week till we get there. So I'll just say that much. So
all right. Well,
all right, boys. I'll see you later.
I'm looking forward to it. David Lagana, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate you, sir.
All right,
This
bye.
was an honor. Thank you.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. There he goes.
I'm going to be following close behind. So if you guys have any questions, I've got to get out and help my wife.
Jarrod, you got to come on for a recap, man, because I feel like this Lagana, like, for lack of a better term, he fucked it all up. Like Lagana came on, and he I'm glad Lagana was here, but I did not honestly expect him to show up. So
I'm just
call your shot.
I'm looking at the title, of our video on the channel here, Superpower Recap.
We have done none of that. We have done none of that. We have recapped.
As content creators, we have missed the mark with that title tag.
Oh,
I'd like to say to Jarrod before I know he's got to go here soon. I just want to tell him, man, you were such a positive voice every day. Everything that you put out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything is so positive and uplifting. And I appreciate that, man. As a father, as an educator, I love reading what you put out every day, man. And just stay the course, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot. I found my place as a teacher very young. I say very young. I was in my early 20s when I started teaching massage therapy at the local community college. And now I teach at a national level for the American Massage Therapy Association. So I got into coaching CrossFit for a while, and it's extremely rewarding to me to be able to pass on information, whether anybody takes it or digests it or whatever, if I can just kind of throw it out there. And I do it more for me than anything. So like the stuff that you see that I put out there is something that's going through my head that I know that I need to work on for that day. So
Right.
if it can evolve and blossom into something for somebody else, then that's good. If I can change one person's life and I can leave this world a little bit better than when I came into it, then mission accomplished.
Well, if you happen to like rock and roll, man, I would love to have you on Piper's Notes, man. I think you would be an amazing guest.
Absolutely.
I'll send you a private message.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
That would be good. And Jarrod, he's 100% right. I feel like I'm always like when I say this stuff, I'm blowing smoke, and I am 100% not blowing smoke here. Jarrod Fritz is a positive voice from the NWA, and he's one of the best people I've met since we've started this thing. And legitimately, you can only do what you can do with me, but like the encouragement that you gave me, the positivity you bring, like that stuff, that's super important, man. It means a lot, and it really did turn me around from where I was. Like I don't know, man. I don't even know how to say it. Like, I don't know a good way to say it, but like just where I was, like just with the quarantine, just like kind of giving in, just letting it go, just like whatever, we'll get back to it when this is over. And then like there was this point where it's like, well, who knows when this is over? And it's like, why are you stopping right now? And you were steady, like energetic and encouraging, and just a positive voice. And that's the stuff the world needs. And that's exactly what I mean. As much as a David Lagana, Billy Corgan, or Nick Aldis, like Jarrod Fritz is right up there with, as far as doing what you do and putting your energy out there, man. Like that's important stuff.
That have personalities in the NWA that have really taken up the burden of carrying the NWA community through all this crisis that we're in. I mean, you think of all the stuff Thunder Rosa's putting out, what Camille's putting out, but Jarrod, you're right there with them, man. Well, every day you've got something to say, and you're going to be, when we come through this on the other end, you're going to be one of the ones that they talk about is that, hey, this is one of the heroes of the of these quarantine days. So seriously, man, my wife and I love watching you, man. She always talks about the cute riff with the man, but I'm like, man, he ain't that cute.
it's all the hair. If I cut the hair, it's gone.
Nah, man. But seriously, bro, you're the man, and the NWA #NWA fam appreciate you.
Well, that means the world. Like it's never ever, and my wife can attest to this. It's never been my intention to garner attention from what I do. It's just the matter of somebody believed in me at some point, and they taught me that you have to believe more in others than you believe in yourself, or that they believe in themselves before anything can happen. So it's just the smallest part that I can do. So I really appreciate it. It means a lot.
Jarrod, I am legitimately getting some questions, so I'm just gonna before you have to bail on me, just to take it back to wrestling really quick.
Yeah.
Were there any refs that you looked at as examples as far as like Tommy Young, Charles Robinson, Nick Patrick? Anybody? Did you have somebody you modeled?
So, Tommy Young definitely was. So when I first started watching wrestling, I never really paid attention to the referees. And then Chuck Robinson just sticks out, just the little Nate hair and all of his mannerisms. And so as you learn more about him, you learn a lot that he got from Tommy Young, just the same. And I've actually, I don't want to say developed a friendship because I don't know if we're at that level yet, but definitely a relationship with James Beard recently. And I've been reading his book and learning a lot from him and watching his mannerisms. And so those are kind of like my top three. I'm a big fan of Red Shoes and Tiger Hattori from New Japan, because I believe that New Japan highlights referees more for what their purpose is, rather than just being a random person in the ring as enforcing rules. And that's something that I was taught when I first started out, is that you are the rule keeper and you have to have that confidence to do that. So I started pulling from those guys, because if you've ever watched it, I mean, they're in there, they're pulling them apart. They're telling them, hey, this is what you have to do. If you don't do this, you're disqualified. And so I like a lot of those guys.
Perfect. That was the big one I was curious about. But Jarrod, we got to get you on a recap episode or something. We can go into more detail. Like, I was super excited to go through the timeline. I know you've got to go, and you ref two matches in this one, so it was super exciting. But if you've got one that stands out in your mind and you want to cover on our NWA Powerrr recap, we'd love to have you back, and I think people would love to know more about you.
Absolutely.
Lagana hog the spotlight with you. So.
Hey, he's a good guy to hog the spotlight, though.
right. So, but we don't hold you up anymore, man. Anything else you want to add? Tell people where they can find you, just real quick before we let you go.
Oh, I hate this part of any type of podcast because I don't ever remember any of my social media stuff.
Hashtag Refit.
Yeah, if you follow hashtag Refit, you can find me anywhere. I've got a new YouTube channel that I'm doing, which I think all you got to do is type my name in on YouTube and it pops up. At JFritz Ref Life on Twitter, Jarrod.Fritz on Instagram, and Jarrod C. Fritz LMT on Facebook.
Oh, perfect. Jarrod, you have been awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us during this whole thing.
Thank you, guys. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you guys have an awesome night. Stay safe and be well.
All right, brother. You
take
care. All right, now it's us.
All right, so let's get started. Tim Stone defeated Jax Dane by pinfall.